not working?
I can't build this for Easter.
Well, do we really need it? Like, what's its purpose? What is this for?
For Easter.
Okay, so what happened on Easter? Do you know?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you. And you know what? Let's tell our friends too. Okay.
Okay.
So there was a man named Jesus. You know who Jesus is, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Jesus, before Easter, he was hung on a cross like this, similar to this, a lock thing. And also, these nails are similar to what he had to endure. And so I'm going to show you guys a little bit as the example. So, see how Jasmine is putting those nails in here and here. And then also, we would be putting one down here as well. So, Jesus hung on a cross like this, although it was bigger. But also, these nails are similar to what, let me see your hand, are similar to what they drove into his hands like this. So could you imagine them taking this, ready Jazz, it's going to hurt. I'm kidding, I would never do that. Taking them and putting them into their hands. And so Jesus died on the cross for all of our sin. So it says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that who shall ever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So that tells us that God sent Jesus to this world to die for all of our sin. And so he was crucified on a cross. And so do you know what crucified is?
What?
Yeah, so okay, that's where they hang him on the cross with the nails in his hands and his feet. And they basically hang him there to die. And so why did Jesus even get crucified? Do you know? Okay, so Jesus got crucified because lots of people didn't believe that he was the Messiah. And so he was trying to help them find their way to God, and they wouldn't do it. And so a lot of times they would get angry with him, and they would say that he was doing things against God whenever he wasn't. He was just trying to do what God wanted him to do. And so they called him a blasphemer, which basically they said that he did wrong things whenever he didn't. And so they hung him on the cross because they said he was lying. And so I want to show you guys today that, this is Holy Week. So Holy Week is the week leading up to Jesus' crucifixion on the cross. And so back in the day, if you got, the reason they hung you on a cross, it's kind of like, you know how we have prison now? They hung him on a cross back then to show everybody that they were sinful. And so they said that Jesus was sinful, and they nailed him to a cross, which he wasn't. They were just having a hard time believing that God sent him. And so I want to talk to you today about how it's so important for us to have that relationship with God, and also believe that Jesus died on the cross. Do you believe that Jesus died on the cross for our sins? It's so important that you believe that, because God sent his own son for us to die for us so we could be in heaven with him. Don't you want to be in heaven? Do you want to be in heaven?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the only way that we can go to heaven is if we believe that Jesus is God's son and he died on the cross for all of our sins, so that we will be protected from being in hell. You don't want to go to hell, do you? No way. And so, going to heaven is amazing. It will be so fun there, right? And I want to really help you guys remember that. So, remember this cross, and especially these nails, because these were the ones that were jammed into Jesus' hands. And that was the blood that he shed for all of our sin, okay? So you guys remember that as we go through this week, and think about that on Easter, because Jesus died for us to have that Easter day. And then after he died on the cross, what happened? Do you know? He was put in a tomb, which is like almost like a cave with a rock over it. He was put in there. And they didn't believe that he was the Son of God. And guess what? God rose him from the dead 3 days later. And guess what? He was not even in there. Nothing was in there. And they were so scared at that point. All the people that hung him on the cross were scared for their life. And they asked God for forgiveness. And because they didn't know that he was the Son of God. And so that's why we celebrate Easter. We celebrate Easter because Easter was the day that Jesus rose from the dead. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool, right? So remember that this Easter, whatever you're doing, whether it's spending time with your family, being outside, having a good time, having a party for Easter, remember, that's the day, the joyful day that Jesus rose from the dead for us, for our sins. Okay? Can you remember that? Can you remember that?
Yep.
Okay. You guys have a good day, and remember this, okay? Bye, friends.
Bye.